So we have with us Benjo. खुश होके भी इंट्रोडक्शन दे ही सकता हूँ ऐसे में. He was associated with us as an online student of QEP batch. This was his 4th attempt and second mains. Graduation DU student. Got good marks in GS. He used QEP in multiple phases. वो दिख रहा होगा marks कहाँ कहाँ इन्होंने use किया है. The objective of this session is again how to use QEP. So QEP का उन्होंने GS1, 2, 3, 4 में कैसे यूज किया था, and other than that also he is having some teaching experience also. तो जो कैंडिडेट्स मेंस दे रहे हैं इस बार या नेक्स्ट ईयर का दे रहे हैं वो बाकी क्वेश्चंस भी पूछ सकता है. हाउ टू यूटिलाइज आंसर राइटिंग कैसे करना है, स्टार्टिंग से आंसर राइटिंग कैसे करना है, ये जो टेम्पलेट लिखने में दिक्कत आ रही है तो ही यूटिलाइज टेम्पलेट्स को कैसे करना है, GS2 की नॉलेज को 4 में कैसे डालना है, QEP की नॉलेज को 4 में कैसे डालना है, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा. So I think 2-4 क्वेश्चन ले लेते हैं पहले बच्चों के, so that accordingly we can proceed in the session. Doubts? कोई डाउट नहीं है, सब हो गया. टाइम मैनेजमेंट का इशू है, ठीक है. और अदर देन दिस, अच्छे मौसम में क्लास बुला ली, गलत बात है, सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे, ऐसा है क्या? जरूर. बहुत बढ़िया, ठीक है. एंड अदर देन दिस व्हाट्स इट, व्हाट डाउट पूछता है तू?
सर एवरीबॉडी इज अटेम्प्टिंग दिस मेंस और
हाँ, काफी सारे हैं. कौन कौन दे रहा है मेंस इस बार में?
अच्छा, नाइस, ओके.
सीरियस बच्चे लग रहे हैं तेरे को इसके लिए, ठीक है. सो फिर नेक्स्ट 30-35 मिनट्स ही विल एक्सप्लेन यू इनका जो एक्सपीरियंस रहा है और कैसे इन्होंने आंसर राइटिंग में मास्टरी की, सीखा, एटसेट्रा एंड ऑल. ठीक है, ओके भाई, ओवर टू यू.
So, hello everybody. Okay, many people are writing this mains. How many people have taken QEP last year or last to last year? First time, all of you are first time QEP? पहले बार है ना? Okay, ठीक है.
क्या डिस्काउंट देता हूँ मैं नेक्स्ट ईयर में?
Okay, so मेरा experience मैं पहले बताता हूँ. So, like sir said, my first 2 prelims I didn't qualify. In my 3rd attempt, I qualified prelims and mains. But the cutoff that year I think it was 749, 748. I scored 749 or so I just scored 1 mark above cutoff for mains, and that's how I went to the interview. I got the interview call. Interview में गया, लेकिन उतना अच्छा marks interview में बहुत अच्छा marks मिला, but I did not clear that year because I was very poor in my mains. There I got 385 in GS1, 2, 3, 4 combined. My optional mark was very less. उसमें मुझे 239, 240 के आसपास मिले थे. And specifically my ethics marks in this 380 was 95. So what I did in my 4th attempt, जो ये this time whatever people are writing, I tried to give maximum time for optional and ethics, and there is where I improved also. तो मेरा ethics का I think about 30 marks increased from 95 to 120, 30 नहीं 26. And then in Andhro, my optional about 60 marks increased. So that is how I got, this sort of conundrum resolved in my 2 attempts. So इसमें मेरा QEP का क्या role रहा है, and how I use QEP, and what is this whole template का thing, everything. That is what I'm trying to speak here. So my first association with QEP happened in my first mains. The first mains में मेरा क्या था कि, like I said, my optional mark was very less. उसमें 239, 240 थे, and that was because my optional was not completed. ठीक है, I had maybe done 30% of my optional. Even after 2 failed prelims, I did not do my optional properly. So in my 3rd attempt, I had to devote a lot of time for my optional, and that is when I also took QEP. The problem that I faced at that time was that QEP content is excellent. बहुत dense content है, इतना सारा डेटा है, केस स्टडी है, डायग्राम, एवरीथिंग. ऑल्सो वी वाइस प्रेसिडेंट PM के स्पीचेस में से जो है, एंड कीवर्ड्स, स्पेशली कीवर्ड्स. सो ऑल ऑफ दीज थिंग्स जो हमें मिलता है, द प्रॉब्लम इज व्हाट आई फेस इन माय फर्स्ट मेंस वाज दैट आई कुड नॉट यूज इट बिकॉज दे वर नॉट हैंडी. तो ये पहली बात आई वांट टू टेल यू गाइस कि इफ यू वांट टू मेक यूज ऑफ QEP, then what you need to do is make it handy. Now the question is how to make it handy. तो उसके बारे में I'll tell you. But before that, let me tell about this 3rd attempt itself. तो उसमें मैंने क्या किया, I gave I tried to initially give a lot of time to QEP as well as my optional, लेकिन नहीं हो पाए. फिर मैंने क्या किया? Then I just did QEP, मतलब उसमें I did not try to condense it or anything. I did not try to make short notes because I didn't have time. तो मैंने क्या किया? I just went through the data जो fact sheet पहले है, तो I just went through the data. Then I went through the keywords and I tried to apply the keywords in whichever possible way I could. So I had just randomly gone through the QEP without investing a lot of time in QEP. So वही problem हुआ मेरा mains में भी also, because whatever content was there in QEP I could not reproduce in the mains. But in my fourth attempt, my second mains, what I did was I tried to take the information from QEP and use it, necessarily mandatorily use it in jab bhi when I was writing test or when I was brainstorming. So here again this is a sort of different from other people, but how do I okay. So my main thing was that in my fourth attempt, see, because in my third attempt I wrote about 7 to 8 mock tests for GS. In my fourth attempt, I did not write a lot of mock tests. But I brainstormed. That is what I did. And I think this is where QEP and templates helped me a lot. So, ये क्या होता है brainstorming, उसके बारे में I'll briefly tell you. So, in this third attempt, जो weekly test होते हैं, I was writing all those tests. But again, I did not write all of them, but still I tried to write a lot of tests. But what I realized, and this is where this question about timing gets, मतलब answer write करने में वो timing नहीं आ रहा है, तो ये मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि how I try to adjust timing by using QEP and resources and templates. So brainstorming is a process wherein I think sir also does it in class, where he asks you to, during QEP, he'll ask you to, brainstorm points and just write, and then, write answers. He'll give you time. फिर आप उनसे बताते हैं कि क्या क्या points दिए. तो वैसा ही था, but what I do is I just scribble down things. So how this whole thing worked is, see, पहले I'll take a PYQ. So rather than writing the answer, I'll take a PYQ. Then I will brainstorm the answer. So the difference between what I do and what other people understand by brainstorming is, जैसे आप brainstorming सुना, तो what you understand is, जैसे एक problem हो गया, मतलब question हो गया, significance of gig economy. Now that is a question. So what people will try to do is, here they'll try to recall significance of gig economy. What are the significance? इसमें informalization होता है, ये होता है, वो होता है, and then you'll try to recall 1, 2, 3, 4 points like that. But here, what I tried differently is using the templates. So I brainstormed by specifically using templates. So iska, the best template that I used from QEP was the general state of economy wala template, the macroeconomy, land, labor, capital, regulation, wo wala template, I used it a lot. Agriculture ka template also I used. PITS ka template somewhere I used, every now and then. But because in my fourth attempt also, I had a lot of my optional to complete, I did not find time to mug up all the templates, memorize all the templates. So here is where, again, something that sir told in QEP, which is syllabus template. So I think for me, the best source, the easiest template was syllabus. So what I would do in brainstorming is I would take a PYQ, then I would apply some template. This template, if it's from economy, I'll use maybe the general state of economy wala template. But if nothing comes to my mind, or if it's some other question, then what I would do is I would use the syllabus template. So let's say the question is about very general question about globalization, or some question about caste, right? Some question from society, or even from GS2, or even from IR. What I will try to do is I will try to take the syllabus and then try to fetch points from QEP or whichever content I have, based on this syllabus template or based on the GSOE template. So what I'll do there is, see, in the GSOE we have land, labor, capital, etc. And I think, you guys would already know about this. So I'll try to briefly tell you about the syllabus template. So let's say I am using the syllabus template. I'll take GS1. GS1 mein then I have society, I have geography, I have history, right, or art and culture, and similar things like that. So then what I'll do is, any question that comes, significance of gig economy, that if that is a question, it's a general question, I'll think from the societal point of view, is there something that I can write here? But now just societal point of view, maybe points will not come. Zyada points nahi aayenge. Then I will subdivide society. So inside society, what are the sub points that are given in the syllabus? So there we have caste, there we have women, there we have urbanization, we have population. So what you can do then is try to get points, try to understand significance of gig economy from these things. So what is the significance of gig economy, or what is the impact of gig economy on caste? Caste as in not caste in general, but then different caste groups. How does it affect marginalized caste? How does it affect better off caste? Is there a difference in that? How does it specifically affect women? Then if you don't get something, very directly, subdivide, you can divide women again. How does it affect, adolescent women? How does it affect elderly women? Right. So in this way, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, and thus try to generate points. And that is the difference here. We're not trying to recall points. I'm generating points. And this is the whole significance of templates. This is the whole significance of time management also, because I honestly think that answer writing mein time isliye nahi lagta because you take a lot of time to write. That is not the reason. It is taking time because thoughts are not coming to your brain. So the more faster thoughts come to your brain, the more faster, you can think, your answer writing time will also decrease. It's not that you have some problem. I think everybody would have a decent enough writing speed. Writing speed to theek hai. But a question dekha, then we are thinking about it ki pehla point kya likhna hai. And that is a problem when we recall. When we recall, we try to, remember points 1, 2, 3. Acha, mera point, mera notes mein ye tha. So first point is this, second point is this, third point full gaya, and then something else we'll write. But the benefit of using a template such as, the macroeconomic framework of QEP, or a syllabus template, or the agriculture template, or any template is, first of all, you're not doing the conventional traditional recall. So udhar, you will not forget. There you will forget a lot of points. But here, the aspect of forgetting does not happen, because you're picking and choosing points whichever you find relevant. That is the first thing. Second thing, when you recall, there is no prioritization given to points. And you just recall based on whatever you recall. You're recalling based on your notes. Ya fir aise aa gaya koi point, you're writing that point in the first. But the problem is the question ka demand, whatever question is demanding, there is definitely a priority to be given to the points. So if there is no priority given to the point, then your answer might look very haphazard, or examiner will also feel ki acha, this person does not have a clarity. Wo clarity jab nahi hai, then you will mug up things and write points here and there. So what a template does is, it can help you prioritize points by helping you to think structurally, right? So it is a structured thinking that happens when you are using a template. Just example ho gaya. Any question from significance of gig economy, if I'm using the general state of economy template, then the first point that I'll think about is land. So land mein, then there is regulatory cholesterol ho gaya, ye sare, hai na? Then labor. So labor mein labor codes ho gaya, capital, investment. So in this way, the points that are coming to my brain is very structured, it's very pointed. And it is not haphazard ki pehla kuch likhya and then last mein we write something else, and all the important points are towards, let's say any question on gig economy comes, or any general question from economy comes, investment, credit, infrastructure needs to be put in my opinion, given a higher priority. But when we are just writing points randomly, ये priority नहीं होता. But when we use it through a template, it will get prioritized. So these are the two important benefits of using a template. First is, you don't have to recall a lot. You're picking and choosing points. Second is prioritization and structural thinking will happen when you use a template. So now let me get back to what I usually नहीं पूरा कैसे करना है? Okay. So now let me tell you what I usually do. So I take a PYQ. Then what do I take? If I take a PYQ, then I'll choose any possible template. I'll choose any possible template, anything that I require, anything that I want. It might be a syllabus template, it might be the macroeconomic framework, it might be the agriculture framework, it might be maybe all of these templates or frameworks combined. There is no hard and fast rule ki economy ka question aa gaya to agriculture ka udhar se koi point nikal raha hai, then you should not take it because the template that sir had given was for agriculture. Aisa kuch nahi, there is no hard and fast rule. My only intention is to think structurally and get as many points as possible through the usage of templates. So I will use a template. Then what I'll do is I'll just brainstorm. I'll just scribble down points. First point here, gaya, second point, third point, just like that. I will not write the entire answer, introduction, body, conclusion, pura answer. I will not write in 7 minutes. What I did towards the end of my preparation was I took a PYQ. I gave 3.5 minutes. In this 3.5 minutes, I would take a piece of paper, scribble down. I would have some idea about the introduction that I'll scribble down here. Template, later on, So I'm just generally telling what I'd usually do. I'll take that 3.5 minutes and then thoda introduction likh liya, whatever points that I generated through the templates, I'll just scribble it down. Conclusion bhi likh diya. That is all that I did, and I could finish some of the mock tests. I finished, if you go by this, I finished mock test in 1.5 hours because 7 minutes ka question hai, 10 marker, I'll do it in 3.5 minutes, and the 15 markers which are for 10 minutes, I'll finish it in 5 minutes. So in that way, I can finish a mock test in like 1.5 hours. Iska problem ye hai ki you're not writing answers, you're thinking. So this should not be the only thing that you do. So that is why I'm saying you need to write daily answers. I'm not saying that you should not write daily answers. I'm not saying that you should not write mock test altogether. They are important, but the objective of those mock tests and those daily answer writing need to be very clear for you. For me, daily answer writing and writing mock test was not to get my thinking to be faster. That was happening when I'm brainstorming. So I differentiated those two things. When I was writing an answer, my answer writing mainly included, the importance for that was number one, time. Am I being able to complete the whole paper, like a 3-hour paper hota hai? So what I usually do is I have a 10-minute buffer. I only write 7 minutes for 10 marker and 10 minutes for 15 markers. So it adds up to 170 minutes. So I have a 10 minutes buffer, and I'll adjust that 10 minutes buffer wherever I could. So the first thing that I search for in that 3-hour mock test is, am I getting the timing right? Second, am I getting the presentation and the structuring right? That is something that I do. And when I get it evaluated, then definitely the person who evaluates it will help me to understand that. Third is there value addition? Is there mapping? Is there diagrams? Am I using side headings? Am I using micro diagrams? Am I using keywords? Am I using acronyms? So these were my broad objectives. These were my, you can say only objectives when I was writing test. My objective here was not to see multidimensionality, aa raha hai, ye aa raha hai, nahi aa raha hai. That was mainly happening when I was brainstorming, when I was solving questions in my head. So this is the most important difference that I want to talk to you guys about, to differentiate thinking and writing. Many people, what I see, they do a lot of tests. Test likhte ja raha hai. See, ultimately it is not because they're writing tests that they're improving. It is because they're thinking better that they're improving in their marks. So I try to differentiate these two things, and also because I was forced to do this sort of a jugaad because I had a lot of time to give for ethics and anthropology. I had joined a course after my prelims for ethics, so I had to, go and join those classes every day. Then I had to do my optional anthropology, separately every day. It's like 7 hours I would do that. So because of that, I could use this template method, brainstorming method, to cut down my time on answer thinking and write some mock tests, write some daily answers, and get both these things checked out. So when I'm brainstorming, my thinking is checked out, that is being taken care of. And when I'm writing my mock test or my daily answers or something like that, my writing and my time, my presentation, my value addition, all of that is checked out. Okay, so this is what basically I'll do. So I'll tell you how to use QEP in this whole process, or how I used it. Let's say I'm studying internal security. I think that is what you're studying right now. So I'll take internal security ka QEP. The first hour or first 30 minutes or something, I'll go through the QEP, because again, see, there is some difference. There is something that I want to tell you guys about. I did not have a lot of notes. In fact, I did not have any notes. Most of my studies were directly from the prelims book that I studied, like Spectrum or Lakshmikant, ye sab. And then value additions ke liye I did extra things such as committees, judgments, examples, and QEP. These were my value additions. Baki, I did not make comprehensive notes for like election commission के ऊपर में एक note, UPSC के ऊपर में एक note. ऐसा I did not do it. So why I did not do it? Because number one, I did not have a lot of time. Number two, sir also tells you every now and then कि artificial compartmentalization of knowledge नहीं करना है. What do I mean by artificial compartmentalization of knowledge? कि GS1 में जो पढ़ रहा है, or if I'm making a comprehensive note on one thing, I should recall all of those points in the exam hall, get those marks and come. I should not use that knowledge somewhere else. ऐसा नहीं चलता. So I did not, first of all, I did not make notes because I did not have time. Second of all, I used whatever I had, right? I started where I was and I used whatever I had. So this is where QEP came in. So what I was trying to say, let me get back to what I was trying to say. Ki internal security kya ho gaya? I did not have notes made by myself. The two things that I had is, one, I had a friend's note. So he had made some notes, I took that notes. Secondly, I took QEP. So QEP se I will get some value addition data, everything. My friend's notes, and I took his notes for only two things, IR and internal security. Baki ke liye, there's a whole different approach. Now if I start telling that, it'll take a lot of time, so I will not talk about that. But let me tell you briefly how you can use it. Okay? It's not my thing. How can you use it? So internal security ho gaya. If I have let's say if I have 3 hours to study internal security, the first 1 hour or something, maybe 45 minutes to 1 hour, what I would do is I would go through my materials or my sources. So this was mainly my, for internal security, just QEP and this friend's note. So this is the first 1 hour that I'll do. The next 1 hour or so, or maybe 1.5 hours, what I'll do is I will take all the PYQs from internal security, and what I'll do is I'll brainstorm. I'll brainstorm questions, all the PYQs from this area, and what I would do there is what I just explained to you a little bit before, right? I explained about brainstorming. I'll take PYQs, I'll use templates, and then I'll scribble down things. That is what I told you guys. So this is what I'll do in this next 1.5 hours. And then I have another 30 minutes or so. In this 30 minutes or 45 minutes, whatever, I will look at this scribbled answers. I would anyway scribble it. Then I would recheck with QEP. QEP mein I will go through each of the answers, and then I will see, okay, in this answer, is there something that I could have written from QEP, right? Is there a keyword that I was missing from QEP that I could have written in this answer? So in this way, I try to compare the two, and thus I try to add my knowledge. This is the way in which I try to increase my content, because most of the times what happens is, if you passively read something, things will not stick to your brain. What you need to do to stick content or knowledge inside your brain is test yourself. This is psychologically and neurologically everything, there are a lot of research to back this. This is exactly what happens when you do a lot of mock tests for prelims. जैसे आपको याद होगा कि if you make any question wrong, then next time 99% of the times you will not make that question wrong again, है ना? So this is exactly what happens when I do this. I'll do the PYQ while brainstorming. Then I will see ki acha, this question I could have written in this way. This keyword I could have written here. When I do that, my mind makes an active mental note of it. And this 30 minutes mein, my content will go from like 30% to maybe a 60%. And this is what happens in this whole process. And this is how I used brainstorming templates and QAP to my advantage. And all of the things such as the micro diagrams and all of those things, the diagrams, the keywords, the fact sheet, data, everything. If I'm missing in this 30 or 45 minutes, I will make sure that I learn as much as possible, whatever is relevant. This is particularly important because ये तो मतलब random PYQ ऐसे random questions solve नहीं कर रहे. This is PYQ solving. So mainly the themes that are repeating, I'll get to know also. So that is another benefit. Some problems with this approach is, see, like sir always says, not all the PYQs will get repeated. Some PYQs are current affairs oriented. Some of them are मतलब अचानक से पूछ गया, and then next time there might not be a chance that they are asked. So when you solve these PYQs in this manner, you'll get to know those PYQs also. This sort of PYQs is repeating. This theme is repeating every now and then, but this is a one-off thing. This might not get repeated. And so this is how I broadly used UAP and brainstorming templates and all of these things. This is my approach to make use of QAP and whatever content I learned here. And this is exactly what I did in my fourth attempt or my second mains, where I properly used QAP to my advantage. Okay, next is something that I want to talk about is significance of enrichment. I think sir would have briefly talked to you about this thing, but I certainly do think, and this is where the question about case laws and all comes in. Case laws, judgments, committees are very, very important for your answer writing or to score marks. Specifically because, see, I don't think it is just case studies or just case laws that will get you marks. I think what will help you to get marks is multidimensionality. एक तो होता है multidimensionality, that you write many points not from one dimension. जैसे economic का question हो गया कि if you're only writing from infrastructure, you will not get marks. You need to also write about other aspects. You need to write about manufacturing. You need to write about agriculture. So maximum number of dimensions के ऊपर if you're writing answers, then you will get marks. Number one is that. And number two is, there needs to be some specific things that you should write. And these are the sort of keywords. These are, your articles of the Constitution. These are the committee names and the specific committee recommendation. These are your judgments or case laws. So this in my opinion, these are the two main things in the content of the answer for which you will get marked. For presentation, it's a whole different thing. That's a whole different topic. We don't have time for that. But for the content, I think these two things are very, very important. एक तो है कि maximum number of dimensions लाना है. कैसे लाना है? That will help you. That will be taken care of when you do this template wala brainstorming. When you do templates, when you do syllabus template or whatever template sir has given here, you will get a lot of multi-dimensional points. First thing will get clarified there. The second thing is what sir gives in the notes, which are keywords, data, fact sheets, case study, diagram. So these are the specific things for which you will get marks. So इसमें आप क्या कर सकते हैं कि you can, if you have time, make a very small, sir, or I think sir would have told you guys, if there is a 300 page, QAP is 300 pages, reduce it to 30 pages. That you do. Usme you try to get all these specific things, specific keywords, specific data, specific diagram that you could use wherever, whenever possible. You try to reduce it down to that. If that is there, I think you can use it very effectively. Now, what I did apart from this is, see, I made one document just for all the judgments, and I think I've shared this in. I have a matlab Telegram channel. Usme you can just global search my name, you'll get it. So usme there are two PDFs that I've shared, and these are like my actual notes. These are actually my only notes, you saw, so to speak. But again, case laws and judgments. उसमें क्या होता है कि I have divided every
बीच में इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ, सॉरी. आपने नोट्स बनाने हैं अपने को, ठीक है?
हाँ,
2025 वालों को तो पक्का बनाने, मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि टॉपर ने बोल दिया तो अब हाँ ऐसे सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा. मतलब जितना टाइम इन्होंने फिर वो ब्रेनस्टॉर्मिंग में लगाया, या तो उतना टाइम दो एक थीम को पढ़ने में 1.5 घंटा, या तो ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करो. अगर ब्रेनस्टॉर्म नहीं करोगे तो नोट्स बनाओ. मतलब डोंट डायरेक्टली कि अच्छा ठीक है आज जाके काम खत्म हो गया, वो नहीं करने का है.
Exactly. जैसे मतलब wherever I go and speak about this, people definitely directly misinterpret me, and that is why I explicitly told you I'm not asking you to not make notes. I'm not asking you to not write mock test. I'm not asking you to not write answers. That is not the intention of this thing. This whole thing, if you guys get something from it, it is that brainstorming templates QEP का significance क्या है and how I made use of it. If you get something from that, take it. Otherwise, see, I'm not going against the grain by saying कि notes नहीं बनाओ. I'm not saying that. Okay, right. So judgments and committees. Either what I did is specifically I took some judgments and divided it in the form of articles. So Article 14, Article 15, Article 16, 17, 18, 21, and so divided all the articles of the Constitution and 1 or 2 case laws for each of the article. That is one thing that I did. Second thing, in the same case laws mein, I took macro themes that were repeated, such as environment के ऊपर में 2-3, जैसे women के ऊपर में 2-3, and so or things like that. Sedition के ऊपर में 2 or 3 case laws. So I try to divide the whole मतलब PYQs and syllabus based on that, and then 1 or 2 case laws for each of these broad topics. And wherever the sort of question comes, suppose a question comes on women, I would definitely write this one case law, either Vishaka guidelines or something else. Whenever, if there is an environment, if it's in even in GS3, question on environment comes, I would definitely write MC Mehta case or absolute liability. So these sort of things I would do mandatorily, necessarily, and this is what I do in the brainstorming thinking. What have I studied in the QEP? What have I studied, or what is the notes that I have? What is the content that I have that is very specific, that will get me marks in my answer? So I will pick and choose those things and mandatorily, necessarily bring that in my answers. तो ये judgments के ऊपर किया, and committees के ऊपर भी I made a similar note that is there in the channel itself. It is also divided into GS1, 2, 3. GS1 mein, then I've divided GS1 mein, I think there is water, then there is communalism. So each of those things, minorities, each of those things I have 1, 2, 3 committees for everything. Agriculture ke upar mein, I think I have some 6, 7 committees, right from M. Swaminathan committee, Ramesh Chandra committee, Ashok Dalwai committee, a lot of these things. So this is the specific thing that I did apart from QEP. QEP में a lot of these committees and their specific recommendations come, but what I try to do is कि मैंने एक छोटा सा एक और मतलब QEP से भी बहुत सारा I took, and then I made a syllabus wise committee का thing. So that is something else that I did. Okay, so this was regarding enrichment. How do you enrich your answers? I think I've broadly covered that. Next is need for template. I think need for template I have broadly told you guys, and I think we'll solve any one question and then you'll try to understand that better. But I mainly use templates for answer thinking. ठीक है, answer thinking पहले होता है, उसके बाद होता है answer writing. So that is what I mainly use templates for. And importance of answer writing, I think I've already told you. For me, answer writing was there for most important reason for answer writing was time management, presentation. Is my content enriched, right? Am I writing articles? Am I getting in committees? Am I getting in judgments? Am I giving maps? So this is why I specifically used answer writing. And for the multidimensionality aspect, I mainly brainstormed. Okay, I think this is broadly what I wanted to say. And sirs, so what's how I used sir ka matlab answer writing, whatever. There is an activity that he'll usually do in QEP, but जैसे कि he'll take a question and then he will ask you to write answers on it. So I did that whenever I could. I followed whatever matlab the question. I tried to write answers and then I would listen to sir explaining the answer. I would listen to some other points that were given by students who were similarly taking QEP like me. So what I understood at that time was this exercise is very important, because you see, when you go and write an answer, you have a certain perspective. Everybody has their own unique perspective. But this activity that sir does in the class is very important, because the other person might have a different perspective, but their answer is just as valid as your answer. In mains, you take 2 answer copies. The answers, there might be a lot of similarities, but there would be a lot of differences because of your upbringing, or because of the facts that you remember, because of whatever, whatever background, perspective, whatever. And this activity that sir does in the class is very important. I think everybody should take part in that and get to listen to what the other person is saying, and try to inculcate that sort of a perspective into your answer writing also. So this is what broadly I had to talk about. Again, let me underscore what sir said again. I'm not asking anybody to not make notes. This is my unique circumstance that led me to do this, and that is how I use QEP and all these sources. But I think you guys, if you guys have enough time, definitely make notes, definitely write answers. Thank you.
अरे नहीं, अगर मतलब
हाँ,
आपको मेरे हिसाब से व्हाट ही सजेस्टेड, उसको 2 पार्ट में डिवाइड कर लेना चाहिए. अगर 3 घंटे का, अगर वंस द क्लासेज विल बी फिनिश, थोड़े दिनों में क्लास खत्म हो जाएगी, उसके बाद में जब अपन रिवाइज करें तो उसको 2 पार्ट्स में डिवाइड कर लेना. QEP में जैसे 5-6 मेजर कंपोनेंट होते हैं ना, फैक्ट्स हो गया, कीवर्ड्स हो गया, डायग्राम वाइग्राम हो गया, एटसेट्रा एंड ऑल. 1-2 को अपना स्ट्रेंथ बनाओ. नॉट एवरी कंपोनेंट कैन बी योर स्ट्रेंथ इन द आंसर राइटिंग. सपोज करो आपने माइक्रो डायग्राम को स्ट्रेंथ बना लिया, तो छोटे छोटे माइक्रो डायग्राम्स बना लो. कुछ हम दे देंगे, कुछ अपनी तरफ से बना लेना उस वाले पार्ट के लिए. ये कीवर्ड्स कर रहे हो तो कीवर्ड्स को अपना स्ट्रेंथ बनाओ. तो जो भी आप 1 या 2 सब कंपोनेंट को स्ट्रेंथ बना रहे हो, उसके नोट्स बना लो. जैसे इन्होंने केस लॉस बनाया, कमिटी बनाया, तो ये 2 इनके स्ट्रेंथ हो गए, खुद के इंडिविजुअल स्ट्रेंथ. वैसे ही आपको अपने जो स्ट्रेंथ बनाने हैं उसके खुद के नोट्स बना लो. बाकी सब राइट लेफ्ट से पैची वर्क से हो जाएगा. इसके लिए इसमें कुछ जो मैंने भेजे थे वो कुछ काम कर रहे हो, सुना मैंने तुम लोग कुछ व्हाट्सएप कर रहे हो. मुझे भेजेंगे किसी ने, ऑफलाइन में भी भेजा किसी ने. इंक्रीज इन 1 डिग्री लीड्स टू डिक्रीज इन 2 डिग्री. आई लाइक हिज नोट्स. वैसे कीवर्ड्स वाला पार्ट मजे तो लूंगा मैं तेरे, बट ठीक है. तो ये कुछ एक्स्ट्रा ब्रेनस्टॉर्म कराना शुरू करा है बेंजो हमने. पहले सिर्फ मैं ही करता था. अब मैंने कहा ऐसे कैसे चलेगा, तो अब हम इनसे कराते हैं. दिस इज लाइक, मैंने कहा लिखो, in case of environment this can be used in the introduction part. 1 degree will leads to what, 1 degree increase in leads to what. Poverty में अगर 1 degree increase in poverty leads to what percentage increase in the child labor. All these components अभी कुछ बच्चों ने participate करना शुरू किया है. So this is really good. अरे अच्छा है, अपनी तरफ से अच्छे कीवर्ड्स बना रहे हैं. कि this is like from rice and wheat oligarchy to multi crop democracy. और अगर आप खुद से कीवर्ड बना रहे हो ना, उसका सिग्निफिकेंस है, वो आपको याद रहेगा, आप पक्का ही याद रहेगा. मतलब एंड यू विल ऑल्सो ट्राई, सेल्फिश हो जाता है बच्चा, यू विल ऑल्सो ट्राई टू यूज इट. जो हम एक्स्ट्रा देते हैं उससे, उस वाले पार्ट में क्या होगा ना, उसका 20% आप कंज्यूम कर पाओगे बस. लेकिन अगर पूरा पढ़ने के बाद उसको कस्टमाइज करके आप अपने कीवर्ड्स बनाओगे तो यू विल बी एबल टू यूज इट अ लॉट. 1-2 और अच्छे ये मैं बता रहा हूँ, टीनेज वाले बच्चे आगे जा रहे हैं अपने से, इसी के हैं. Idea to impact, rural to reskilled, fields to fortune. Now these 2-3 keywords we can use for agriculture. Food processing में use कर लेंगे, agripreneurs में use कर लेंगे, youth में use कर लेंगे, export orientation में use कर लेंगे. So वो थोड़ा थोड़ा काम आपको करना पड़ेगा इस वाले पार्ट में. इसके लिए. So this is what the kids are doing. कुछ डाउट्स ले लेते हैं भाई बच्चों के. बोलो भाई डाउट्स.
देखिए, so first thing is when in my third attempt when I was doing ethics for the first time, that time I had told sir also I did not join foundation course, so I did not have notes for ethics. First time I did everything on my own, and that is when I realized I did not have any conceptual clarity in ethics. So that is the first thing that I did in my fourth attempt, that I tried to understand very specifically the concepts in ethics. The usual example that I give usually is objectivity, impartiality, non-partisanship, and something else, neutrality. What is the difference between these four things? So these sort of things will only happen to you once you understand the thing conceptually. If you mug up, I don't think it will come to you easily. So the first thing that I did from my third attempt to my fourth attempt is understand concepts very clearly. The second thing that I did is I tried to use a lot of examples. I got examples between the prelims and mains. I was reading the newspaper. Before that I did not read a lot of newspaper, but after the prelims I was reading newspaper daily. I took editorials, I took examples, very seemingly simple examples. I'll give you one example. Morbi Bridge collapse happened at that time. Very easy, simple example for anybody to understand. So when you take examples that the examiner will also connect to, number one. Number two, that are very simple to express. Morbi Bridge collapse, everybody knows. Similarly, at that time, when I was writing just before that mains, in Delhi, similar rain was happening, a lot of potholes were there. I remember a lot of deaths were happening because of falling into potholes. These two are very good examples for maladministration, misgovernance, all of these things. Okay, so these are the two things that I did in my content for ethics. For my the first part, the theory part, and then for the case study part. For the theory part, I did brainstorming again. I divided the questions, GS4 ka entire questions. I divided it into my own way. Like I tried to divide, and that is also given in the channel. I've divided it. There are some headings that I made under which I clubbed some questions. So this is what I did, and then I brainstormed these sort of questions so that I understood okay, these sort of themes are getting repeated every now and then. So that is what I did for the theory part, the part A. For part B, I tried to keep it very simple. See, I definitely had an introduction. Many people in case studies do not write an introduction. I thought, what is the problem of writing introduction? I would definitely write an introduction there. Then I did not go in a template manner ki everybody is writing stakeholders, everybody is writing blah 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 XYZ. I don't think that in case studies you have that template that only if you write in the template you will get marks. No, you can be creative like that. And there again, I brought in a lot of examples. I brought in specific things. The problem with case studies is when we see case studies, we just write it generally, ethical issues, very general, generic points, solutions, positives, negatives, generic points, and then conclusion, whatever conclusion. But here again, you bring keywords, whatever keywords you get from QEP, from newspaper examples, you bring in DPSP articles, for a fundamental duty, bring in articles. That is, the sort of same value addition that you do in your GS, apply it in your GS4, but in a paper specific manner. It should not be that GS 1, 2, 3 mein, whatever you use, you blindly use it there. No, in a very specific manner, you bring it in your case studies also. So do not write generic case studies. Try to add specificity in your case studies. This is what I did for my presentation part. This is broadly what I did in my third and fourth attempt. I did try to do that to a limited extent. See, I do think that that is good. It's a very good thing. But in optional, I think you need a much more of technical knowledge. This brainstorming template-wise thing will happen in your general studies because it is semi-specific points that you have to write in your GS papers. But in your optional, you need very technical, to the point, PhD wala answers, in my opinion. So there, I do think that content plays a much more importance. So even though I did use brainstorming, my more focus on my optional was to amass as much content as possible. Jitna bhi memorize kar sake, utna memorize karo. How many thinkers, more number of concepts, books, years. That was mainly for content consolidation and giving a lot of content. But for GS, this sort of a template-wise approach, in my opinion, is better. But that does not mean that you should not use it. I definitely used brainstorming, ESRA, and then I made my own templates for my optional. Very simple templates. For example, if there is any theory that comes, so how I would usually, my optional was anthropology, how I would usually attempt it is, any theory that comes, the first thing will be a brief introduction about the theory. First introduction would be that. Second point would be a point of reaction, as in to what movement or to what philosophy did this theory come as a reaction to. That would be first. Next, I would write some basic premises of the theory. So if it's structuralism, I will write 5 points about structuralism, basic premises. Then I would write individual contributions. So individual thinkers, so we have Levi-Strauss there, so I'll write some points about him, some of his contributions. Then I would write criticisms, individual criticisms and broad criticism. Then I can write contemporary relevance. Then I can write a conclusion. So in this way also you can make your own sort of templates, 7-8 pointer wala templates for each of your different topics of your optional also. Optional ka not really. What I did do was very conventional things, but get more thinkers. Whatever thinkers. So my approach to optional was I read a lot of these topper notes. So whatever thinkers were in the topper notes, all of those thinkers I knew. Use upar 1, 2, 3, 4 thinkers also I knew. That was my approach. So that is what I'm telling you. In optional, my approach was to get more content, relevant, actual content from research papers or from standard books or places like that. In anthropology, we have some materials that are written by anthropologists and professors of anthropology themselves in EPG Pathshala, etc., etc. A lot of sites are there. I read a lot of research papers in JSTOR. So there my intention was not to bring diagrams or things like that. Definitely keywords and things are important, but they're very specific. It's not like a generic keyword you can write in your optional. I think optional requires an optional specific answer writing style. Optional specific keyword. Thinkers, if there are 5 thinkers that are given for a particular topic in a note, I will make sure that I will have 1 or 2 extra thinkers. But something that you can do without running after a lot of thinkers is multidimensionality. How do you do it? A question aa gaya, the question is on 1.6 unit 1.6, suppose. If you can write something from paper 2 unit 3 there, connect those 2 things and write it, that could be a way in which you could add more dimensions, relevant, optional, specific dimensions to your answer without running after a lot of content. So use different parts of the syllabus, intermingle different parts. Do not categorize information like that. Intermingle different parts, and that is how you can maybe score more.
Any other doubts? कैसे पढ़ूं कि स्टैंडर्ड बुक्स याद हो जाएं? The question is कि सर बुक को कैसे पढ़ूं कि याद हो जाए? उल्टा करके पढ़ लेते हैं. Second last question.
बुक कैसे पढ़े कि याद हो जाए? I have an answer for this. First, जो भी बुक है उसके पीछे कोई क्वेश्चंस होगा. First go through the questions. If you have a content, whatever book you have, whatever content you have, First, don't read the content. First, go read the questions. Then try to understand कि questions में क्या पूछे है. Then you will get to know कि 100% of the book need not be memorized. Questions come from maybe 20%, 30%. First thing that you need to do is go and read those questions. Second thing is read all the headings. Do not read the book from first word, second word, third word. No. First, in your second reading, first reading is your questions. Second reading, read all the headings. Third reading, read the headings in the first or one or two lines. In that way, make a blueprint of everything. And then in the fourth reading, go back to your questions, redo this again. That is, I think, a better way to read a book. How to solve PYQ? I think I've explained how to solve PYQ here. What is the best time to prepare for the exam? College or after college? Depends upon the individual.
I think you can cover that.
Okay.
Suggestion दे देते हैं कि क्या.
Okay. So, best time to prepare, I think, see, in my personal opinion, I joined a foundation course in my second year. I did not attend a lot of classes, very few classes I attended. And then I realized it's very difficult for me to balance my college and this course. Like preparation and college, I could not balance. So I gave up. And then in my college, all throughout my college, I did not prepare for CSE. It was only after 1 year of graduation, that I started preparing seriously for UPSC. So in my opinion, but I have a lot of friends who have prepared in their second year, third year. I have a friend who cleared in their first attempt when they were studying in their third year. I had a 3-year degree. So engineers, 4-year degree people also, I know some engineers who were preparing from their third year in engineering and they cleared in their first attempt. I know a lot of people who were preparing from second year of college who did not clear even after 5-6 attempts. So it is not mandatory. ऐसे बात नहीं है कि if you prepare from college you will definitely clear. That is not the case. It is just your own personal वो चीज़ है. But see, in my opinion, the things that you should do in college are read your NCERTs. If you are starting from a very basic level, read your NCERTs. Try to read some newspapers. Listen to some media news, Agashwani or something like that, DD1, or listen to Sunset TV, Perspectives karke, there is a show. Listen to these sort of things. Do very passive things. Do not actively do it. Actively maybe only do the NCERTs. Baki time I think you should enjoy your college definitely, because I don't think those 3 or 4 years will come back again.
They'll come back in Labas for 3 months. Any other doubts? So,
okay, I think
commonality between Medha, Vaibhav Anand and Benjo is? मेरे में कॉमन है. Don't give my credit to them. तीनों ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट है. तीनों ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट है ना. बट सिंसेरिटी ऑफलाइन वालों से ज़्यादा ही होगी. समझो ना, एक बच्चा बैठ के ब्रेनस्टॉर्म कर रहा है, अकेले में ब्रेनस्टॉर्म कर रहा है. क्लास में तो इजी है ना अपने लिए. इसने सुना, सर ने इसकी तारीफ कर दी तो उसको बुरा लग गया, घर जाके पढ़ेगा. यही सब तो होता है प्रिपरेशन में. यही तो होता है. कुछ दिन अच्छे जाते हैं, कुछ दिन खराब जाते हैं. तो जब ऑनलाइन वाले बच्चे इतने सिंसेरिटी से पढ़ रहे हैं, अपन को तो ज़्यादा पढ़ना ही चाहिए. ऐसा कोई इमोशनल नहीं मार रहा हूँ, बट अपन बहुत पैसा लगा रहे हैं यहाँ ORN में रह के, 20-25 हज़ार रुपये के आसपास. सो उतना ब्रेनस्टॉर्म करो यार, थोड़ी मेहनत करेंगे. अच्छा, डेली ऐसे कहीं मैं ओवरलोड तो नहीं कर देता हूँ तुम लोगों को कि हर दिन ही टेंशन में घर जाते हैं कि मैंने प्रिपरेशन ही क्यों स्टार्ट किया. ऐसा तो नहीं है. अभी वो दिन है जब टेंशन ले सकते हो. 2024 किड्स के लिए भी वी हैव 1 more month. वो एक्चुअल में वो अभी बचे हुए 60 दिन बहुत है. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि 60 डेज अब क्या ही होगा. अगर 1.5 घंटा हर मॉक टेस्ट में बचा लेंगे अपन, और अगर अपन ने पहले अर्लियर इफ यू आर थिंकिंग कि वी विल राइट 20 मॉक, तो अपन को 10 ही लिखने हैं बस. 10 का तो टाइम बचा लिया अपन ने इसमें से. तो इसलिए कुछ अपना यूनिक वे निकालो पढ़ने का, यूनिक वे निकालो कंटेंट को एब्जॉर्व करने का, समझने का, स्ट्रेंथ बनाने का, और उसके हिसाब से यूज करो। हर सेलेक्टेड कैंडिडेट के अपने स्ट्रेंथ एरियाज होते हैं, उसको पता नहीं होता बस। जैसे इनका स्ट्रेंथ एरिया था ब्रेनस्टॉर्म वाला या केस स्टडीज वाला या फिर आर्टिकल्स लिखने का या कमिटीज लिखने का, सो वो उसको इनहेरेंट है, ही लव्स इट। तभी तो सोचो ना पूरी प्रिपरेशन में बस 2 ही चीजों के नोट्स बनाए हैं।
और भी
वो
बनाए
कहीं ना कहीं एज होगा।
और भी बनाए थे नोट्स, बट लाइक वो वेर एग्जाम्पल्स, ठीक है। ऑल्सो मैं आई विल शेयर दैट थिंग इन टेलीग्राम चैनल, देन एवरीबॉडी विल गेट टू नो।
नीचे वीडियो के नीचे उसमें डाल देंगे, आपके साथ शेयर कर देंगे। इसलिए अनलेस एंड अनटिल यू मेक योर ओन स्ट्रेंथ पॉइंट। देखो मतलब जितना मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है यूपीएससी में बच्चों का, उसमें कुछ 12, 13, 15 पॉइंट्स होते हैं जो मतलब जिसके बेसिस पे मार्क्स मिलते हैं। उसमें से 3-4 अपने को स्ट्रेंथ बनाना है, बस वो आपको खुद ही डिसाइड करना है क्या आपका स्ट्रेंथ होगा। किसी का स्ट्रेंथ होता है पॉइंट जनरेशन बहुत ज़्यादा है कि 10 मार्कर के अंदर 13-14 पॉइंट लिख रहे हैं। किसी का स्ट्रेंथ होता है एग्जाम्पल्स लिखना, फैक्ट क्रैम करना। पुराने रैंक 1, रैंक 2, 3, 4 देखोगे, हर किसी का अपना स्ट्रेंथ पॉइंट रहा है ना। तो यू नीड टू क्रिएट योर ओन स्ट्रेंथ पॉइंट्स, क्या स्ट्रेंथ बनाना है। ठीक है, एनी अदर डाउट्स? लास्ट क्वेश्चन, तो विल टेक ए 10 minutes ब्रेक, उसके बाद मिलते हैं।
थैंक यू।